What's the sense working with the kids this week, Keith? Do you I was just talking to Burko about a sense of urgency. I'm wondering, do you sense that with your defense?
I honestly thought we had our best day of practice all year today, defensively. Kids had a great spirit about themselves, and again, it's just the type character that they have. I think we got a great group of young men, and they understand. That's why you play 12 games. I mean, there's still 5 games left to play. I mean, trust me, we've been in worse predicaments than what we're in right now. I mean, and what we're trying to get them to understand is just you have to and even as a coaching staff, let's be diligent. Let's make sure that we, pay attention to the detail of the little things, and that's going to be the difference in the outcome of some of these games.
What does Oregon do well offensively?
I tell you, they got explosive playmakers, on the perimeter and at quarterback and at running back, big offensive linemen. I think the running back is probably, if you combine Booker with Perkins, that's probably what you have in him. He's 230 pounds, makes you tackle him every down. So, our kids were pretty excited today about the challenge.
So many schools run a version of the read option or the spread, whatever you want to call it. What, in your opinion, Keith, makes Oregon's so unique or so special or so difficult to stop?
Yeah, I would say probably the tempo, and the pace of the game in which they play. They play fast, and running game wise, they keep things pretty simple, and which allows them to to execute and to go at a high rate of speed. And then when they can stretch the field horizontally, vertically, and then attack you up the middle, I think that's what makes them so versatile.
I mentioned you guys need to start forcing more turnovers. Just what goes into that?
I think it's just really it's the only thing you can do in practice. I think is one, you have to put an emphasis on it. We sometimes say we're putting an emphasis on it, but I mean really holding players accountable to attacking the ball, holding kids accountable to, if you drop an interception in practice, there's got to be a consequence, kind of a cause and effect. So we just have got to do a better job as coaching staff putting an emphasis and getting the players to understand the importance that could be the difference in the game. It's up 18-14. How about go force a turnover? How about set up in a better field position? So those are the things that we've put a major focus on this week.
Which player stood out to you in that Utah game defensively?
I thought Smallwood continues to play really well. I think Viso's solid. I tell you, I did think Jordan Simone probably played his best game of the year, just kind of right off the top of my head.
DJ Calhoun kind of
Yeah, it's like I showed those guys today. I mean, he played 12 plays, which I don't know who his coach is, but geez Louise. He played 12 plays, and out of the 12 plays, he had 2 quarterback sacks, 2 TFLs, 3 tackles, and a quarterback hit. So in my math, that's 8 out of 12 plays he hit somebody with the ball. So probably ought to play a little bit more.
The special teams has been excelling exceptionally. How does that help you as a defensive coordinator when they're giving the opposing offense a very long field to work with?
Obviously, I mean, you just answered your own question. It's creating field position. That's what special teams is all about. Trying to flip field position when it's not good, and trying to create it when you have an opportunity to pin somebody deep on a kick or a punt. But it does make all the difference in the world when people are backed up. Their playbook shrinks. The more they get out toward the middle of the field, the more you get everything. I mean, the playbook opens back up a little bit. So obviously, I think Sean's been just extremely good for our special teams, and our kids have responded to it, and it's been good, been really good.
Can you talk about the weapon Tim White's become and how that in some ways impacts the defense?
Well, it does, because there's nothing that will create momentum in a football game or a momentum change other than a punt return or a kickoff return. I mean, it can completely flip. It got pretty quiet after that kickoff return. It got pretty quiet after Gump's punt return. So special teams plays have such an impact on the game, from, more importantly, the momentum shifts that they create. A block punt in the Colorado game, it just something about special teams plays, explosive special teams plays, creates excitement.
You guys held 3 straight teams under 100 yards rushing before Utah, and then you guys were bottling it to Devontae Booker through 3 quarters. How do you assess how your front seven's playing?
Well, I've said it since game 1. I felt like since A&M, we've dominated the line of scrimmage. The Cal Poly, the New Mexico game, it's hard because it's just the different type blocks that your guys are playing off. They can't be quite as aggressive as what they were in those games. And, honestly, I'm disappointed that we didn't hold A&M to less than 100 yards. It could have affected the outcome of that game. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I've said it, and we put a major emphasis on it last spring. We played a lot of base defense in the spring, and I think it's showing off and paying great dividends for us this year. Our kids have great confidence in stopping the run, and every time you do that, you just gain that much more confidence. All we've done is hold, a guy like Booker and a guy like Perkins. I think at the time, going into last week's game, Booker was like the number 2 ranked rushing leader in the country, and he's not anymore. So I think we got that same challenge again this next Thursday night.
Coach, DJ Calhoun had 2 sacks in your nickel defense, and Murphy Richardson was getting after the quarterback. Can you talk about just that group?
Yeah, well, I tell you, anytime you got those two side by side, if you can figure out where they're going, good luck. I mean, those guys, I mean, their motors they're sitting on G, waiting on O most of the time, and they were doing a great job, and they just get better. Since the UCLA game, they just get better and better and better in attacking that quarterback. It's almost like, they're like sharks in the water. They smell that blood, man. They're teeing off, and you can see the experience that they're gaining and the confidence.
How have you felt about that group's overall ability to get off the field on third downs?
It's gotten better. I mean, since the first half, and I really believe, we go 2 weeks without playing nickel against New Mexico and Cal Poly. And then all of a sudden, the first half, we just were not in sync against USC. But since that time, I think we've done a much better job getting off the field. I'm not sure about the percentage of time. Our goal is to be off more than 70% of the time, and we're probably bumping somewhere between 60 and 70% of the time getting off the field.